Shavua Tov, a good Avoch, a good Chedesh, a good month, and welcome to our program. It's the month we just ushered in, the month of Sivan, the month of Matan Torah. When we look in the Gemara in the Sugya of Matan Torah, in Shabbos, Pezayin Amud Aleph, we find Dorash Hahu Glilo. Peiches Amud Aleph. Dorash Hahu Glilo. That this person who came from the Golil, what did he say? He said, in the name of Rav Chisda, Berich Rachmano de Yohav Urion Tliso, blessed is Almighty God, that he gave Urion Tliso. Urion Tliso means either a triple light from the word oil, or from the teaching, or Raiso is teaching, and they are both basically connected. So he gave the triple light or the triple teaching, Le'amt Liso, to a triple nation. And Rashi immediately says, why? What does that triple nation mean? Keanim, Levim, v'Yisraelim. And why is the Torah called triple? Says Rashi, Torah, Levim, Uksuvim. And then it says, Beyarchot Liso, that he did it on the third month. And the question immediately is, it's the same language is employed, Lisoi, but the month of Sivan is the third month, but it's not a triple month. Uryont Liso means a triple teaching, Telanvim Uksuvim. Amot Liso means a triple nation, Telanvim Keanim Levim and Yisraelim. Yarchot Liso, we have to understand what it means. In Chumash it says B'Chedesh Tashlishi, the third month. It doesn't say the triple month. So the equation is not the same. The equation here is lacking. Nevertheless, the Gemara says it like it's one idea. So therefore it comes out from the Gemara that the Gemara takes that the month of Sivan is not only the third month, but it's also a triple month. How do you reconcile that? We will return to that in a moment, and to the explanation in the teachings of the Rebbe. But first, our customary story. Unfortunately, friends, we lost this week an absolutely wonderful Jew. Rabbi Chosid Atomim, the Moshe Kotlarsky, Zichleinu Livrocha. The Moshe was dedicated to the Rebbe and to Shliches and to Shluchim in an extraordinary way. And what he accomplished is something that, very difficult to say, very few people in our generation have accomplished what the Moshe Yehuda has accomplished. I heard from our son, Rav Elvel, who was a shliach in Caracas, Venezuela, from Holy Torah in the yeshiva, in the years 1987, 88, from 1987 to 1989. And he tells the story that when they were in the yeshiva in Caracas, the Meshel of Hasholem came to Caracas. And although he had a full schedule, he found time to bring with the Bochlim in his hotel. And that was the Moshe. The Moshe was there for everybody. And although he had a mission that he had to do in Caracas and he was busy, nevertheless he found time to bring with the Bochlim. And during that Fabringen, he told him this. He told him what he heard from Rabbi Chodakov. And Rabbi Chodakov said, when you're dealing with a Jew who for now is not yet a Shomer Shabbos, you cannot be negative, and you cannot call him out. You got to be very, very careful. You got to be positive. But how are you positive to a Jew who is not yet a Shomer Shabbos? So Rabbi Chodakov said, this is the approach. First of all, you see that Jews during Shabbos, many of them are Shomer Shabbos, at least part of the time. Although they may call it the weekend, but they use the weekend to sleep a little more. So on Shabbos, he sleeps 8 hours. So during those 8 hours that he sleeps on Shabbos, he's ashamed of Shabbos. He keeps the Shabbos, he's sleeping. And for that, he gets his reward. Not only that, he has more time on the what he calls the weekend. So he eats 3 meals. Each meal takes about an hour. So during those 3 hours, he's also a Shomer Shabbos, because he's busy with the meal. Then he likes to read the newspaper, so he should know what's going on in this world. So that also takes time. During that time is also Shomer Shabbos. Then he likes to read some books, this book, that book, whatever. During that time again is a Shomer Shabbos. So that comes out, Rabbi Chodakov said, that could be that 15, 16 hours of the day he is a Shomer Shabbos. So therefore you have to give the Jew the feeling of positivity. Now you say to him, for next Shabbos, if ever he wants to smoke a cigarette, let him delay it 5 minutes. Doesn't have to do it now. He can do it 5 minutes later. Do it 5 minutes later. Those 5 minutes will pile up. Meanwhile, the 5 minutes that he's delaying it, he's a Shomer Shabbos. He keeps Shabbos. So therefore, you hope that there's going to be 5 minutes and maybe another 5 minutes and another 5 minutes. The idea of the story, and we want to say it in the Leilu Nishmas of a Chosid, Atomim, the Meish Yehuda, the Tzvi Yosef, that this is how to look at a Jew, to give the Jew the feeling of positivity, even if it's difficult to find. But Rabbi Chodakov found it, and he shared it with the Moshe. The Moshe shared it with the Talmidim Hashluchim in Venezuela. Tiyah nishmos etzlulo b'tzedach chayim, yisholem le'ofrei, v'hi zichrei boruch, and his memory will be a blessing of all the good things that he did for the Rebbe and for Shluchim the world over. Rabbi say, going back to this Gemara, if the Gemara says in the sequence that we're talking about Amot Lisoy, a triple nation, and we're a triple nation of Kanim Levim and of Kanim Levim and Yisraelim, as Rashi says, you're talking about a triple teaching, Teilon Levim Uksuvim. So therefore, it stands to reason that the month is also triple. Although on the face value, what we know is it's a Chedesh Hashlishi, it's the third month. But the Rebbe says, since the Gemara says it all in one sequence, that means that the month is also a triple month. And the Rebbe's explanation is that Chedesh Sivan is not only a Chedesh Hashlishi, it's a Chedesh, the third month, that has the first and the second month in it. It combines all 3 months together. And therefore, it has the power of the first month, which is Nisan, and the power of the second month, which is Iyar, and the power of the third month, which is Sivan. So it's a Chedesh Hashlishi, it's not only the third month, it's indeed the triple month, the one that has the qualities and the power of the first and the second and the third month altogether. Concerning Matan Torah, the Medrash brings that Moshel Melech, a Moshel to a king that had a country, but the country was situated on a mountain, and there were those who lived on top of the mountain and those who lived on the bottom of the mountain. And the Melech gave out a decree. Bnei Remi leyedu lamato, and those who live on top should not come down, like 2 countries. And those who live on the bottom should not go up. And it was conducted like 2 countries. No tourists, no commerce between the countries, 2 separate countries. And then one day, the king decided that he is going to annul the decree. He will remove the decree. And then there can be movement. Those who live in the Remi can go down to Syria. Those who live in Syria can go up to Remi. There could be traffic between the two countries. There can be commerce between the two countries. There can be business between the two countries. There can be tourists between the two countries. Open borders, everybody is welcome. What is the mashal? Almighty God created the world. And He created the world in the form of Hashomayim Shomayim Lashem, Ve'oletz Nosan Livnei Odom, which means there was godliness and there was spirituality. And these two worlds of godliness and spirituality were separate worlds. And they did not come together. They did not come together. And then by Matan Torah, Almighty God says that now we are going to merge the mundane and the spiritual and the mundane. And Almighty God Himself, Vayeled Avai al Har Sinai, He descended to the mountain of Sinai. Well, Moshe Omar Alei al Elokim, and Moshe Rabbeinu made the trip. Almighty God made the trip from up down, and Moshe Rabbeinu made the trip from bottom up. And the traffic started flowing between the two worlds. What is the explanation? The explanation is that before Matan Torah, the spirit was spirit, and the mundane was the mundane. Could the mundane become spiritual? Absolutely not. Which means before Matan Torah, can the actual physical world become holy? No. Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov, they have performed all the mitzvahs, but they didn't change. They didn't change the world, which means that the world itself did not become holy. It says in Chassidus that Yaakov Avinu performed tefillin through the maklis. However, what happened after the maklis? After he did his service with the sticks, the maklis remained maklis, because maklis are sticks, and they are mundane, and they cannot become spiritual. Now, after Matan Torah, the world can become spiritual. Can a stone be spiritual? Well, you're going to say, how can a stone be spiritual? A stone is a stone. Nevertheless, today, if you take a stone, and with the stone you build a shul, that stone becomes spiritual. And with a stone you build a girls' school, that stone becomes spiritual. With a stone you build a Beis Chabad, that stone becomes spiritual. Can parchment become holy? One is going to say parchment is something physical. Nevertheless, if on the parchment you write tefillin, on the parchment you write a mezuzah, then the parchment becomes holy. Can a garment become holy? Can wool become holy? On the surface you will answer no. How can wool become holy? But if you take the wool and you make it into a garment of tzitzis, that garment becomes holy. And that is only after Matan Torah, when Almighty God says that the traffic can flow from up down and from down up, and the spiritual is coming down, and the mundane can have an elevation, and the stone can have an elevation. And as the expression in Chassidus is in many places, tzitzis b'tzemed gashmi. You make tzitzis from a physical object, from physical wool. And tefillin, how do you make tefillin? Miklav gashmi, from parchment, from physical parchment. Now the physical parchment is no longer physical. Now it's spiritual. And this is what happens with Matan Torah. And the Ovis could not have done that. They did whatever they did, but they didn't change the world. We, every single one of us, we have that ability to be able to change the world. And that was given to us by Matan Torah, where we can take the physical objects of the world and we can transform them into spirituality. And we can take the entire world, and if the entire world is made in a way that is going to be subservient to Almighty God and help Teilu mitzvahs, the entire world will become not physical, will become spiritual. And this is our mission in this world. So it's not only the mission that we have as Jews in Matan Torah, and we are renewing that mission with Matan Torah. It's also the mission, the eternal mission that we have as Jews, to prepare ourselves and the world for that great day of the coming of Mashiach, which is coming now, as the Rebbe told us so many times that this is the last generation of Golus and the first generation of Geula. And in Mirz Hashem, by doing that, we're going to get there. Yes, this generation that was written of by everyone, this is the generation of Moshiach. Look at them. And the answer is yes. This is the generation of Mashiach. And this generation will see Mirz Hashem with our very, very own eyes the coming of Mashiach, Gesundheit und Fröhlichkeit. Over Agola di Dan, over Simcha, over Tuv Livov, over Teva Nila ve'anigle, over Mata me'asolat fochim, over Chesed, over Rachamim, ve'tekef, umiyad, Mamesh.